time out and showing the initiative to tune in to the webinar. The good news is I'm not going to throw too many slides at you. I think I've only got about 8 or 9 of them, And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by introducing the concept of standard work. I've got one slide then which really details the benefits of using standard work. And I'm going to finish off by giving you 3 takeaways that I feel that you can use to start introducing standard work in your offices. If not this evening, certainly by tomorrow and that. So first and foremost, I think what we need to do is we need to really understand that for any task, and that whether that's filling out an invoice, whether it is raising a purchase order, whether it is reviewing a report, like there is only one best way. And these are tasks that in most offices you have several people doing that, but they're doing them slightly different, and sometimes they're doing very differently and all that. And the idea is that we would identify the best way to do that and capture it. Now, I have to, honest disclosure here is, it took me years really to grasp and understand the benefits of standard work. I was always under the assumption that it was a question of horses for courses, that a job comes in today and I give it to Owen because Owen is the best person to do that job. He just does it better than anybody else in the office. And that's the way I taught, And but when I learned about Lean and started implementing Lean, it changed my thinking dramatically, because you know what? Even though I know Owen is a smart guy, like there's people in the office, the rest of the people are just as smart as him, like, you know what I mean? So what the idea is, like, what's he doing different than everybody else? And again, what I need to do is I need to capture that, and I need to share it with everybody so that everybody can do that task. Because the other side of that, of course, is I know some other task comes in at the moment and I won't leave Owen near him because he's not so hot on them tasks, Now, for the webinar, I wanted to try and think of something that we're all familiar with and that we could almost kind of think of it in standard work terms and that, So what we've got here is a picture of a gentleman and his young son loading a dishwasher. Obviously, you can see straight away by his stance, it's not something that he's particularly adept or comfortable with doing, But it's a task we're all familiar with. I've seen dishwashers loaded, and it's like, the cutlery and crockery literally fell out of the sky into the dishwasher. It's so disorganized, and there's nothing as frustrating as when you open the dishwasher at the end of a wash cycle and you see there's stuff in there and there's water, and like it just puts you in bad form straight away, So what I have next is I literally have a list of the benefits of standard work. So first and foremost, the standard work helps to ensure that all the tasks are done according to the current best way. This is really important because it simplifies and speeds recruitment and training, because people aren't just making it up as they go along. They literally have a process to follow, and they've actually got a very good process to follow, and you know exactly what's required in that process. Again, because we have a good process, it means we're improving quality and increasing customer satisfaction. In terms of the dishwasher, absolutely, we open the dishwasher, everything is stacked correctly. The big plates are at the back, the small ones are at the front. The cups are the right way up. The knives are in one section. The forks are in another, so that when we empty it, we just can literally grab the bunch of forks and put them in with where the forks should be, and likewise with the knives and the spoons and that. Another benefit of standard work is it makes results predictable and measurable. We know exactly what labour is going to be involved to fill in that dishwasher. And that's important because every task, whether it is in the factory floor or whether in the office, it has to be costed. Somebody has to pay for it. Ultimately, the customer has to pay for it. So having that standard work allows us literally to put a price or a cost on that task. This is again critical because as organizations get bigger and some of these tasks multiply, we're able to actually quantify what resources, what labour we require to do them, and equipment in some other cases. I think this is a really, really critical point here. The idea that standard work puts the focus on the process, not the person. If something goes wrong, again, if it's in the dishwasher situation, we find that I don't know, maybe there's stuff mixed up or whatever. There's a problem. We'll actually go back and we'll look at the process and we'll find out maybe how we loaded the dishwasher. We forgot something. Now we need to change it. But again, the focus is on the process, not the person. I mean, certainly not in all of my career, the default position usually is to, when something goes wrong, is to blame the person. And let's put in straight away retraining. Now, again, I've learned through experience that if retraining is the only corrective measure that you're putting in there, the problem is going to come back again. It's different if you change the process and you're retraining somebody in the new process. That's totally different. Because if the process was right in the first place, we wouldn't have had a problem. Good thing about standard work is it makes improvement easier and faster because, again, people are in the routine of following the process. You know what I mean? So if we need to modify that, no problem. They can just adapt very, very fast. Again, streamline problem solving because we're able to go backwards through the process and find out what was the root cause of the problem and sort it out. I think standard work is really, really good in terms of encouraging employee engagement and ownership, you know. I think it's a huge compliment. I think actually the biggest compliment you can give people is to ask their opinion. So if you're pulling your team in and you're saying, look, we're going to introduce standard work here into this particular task, I'd like your input into it. We'd like to trial it. I think what's really important is that we assure people at the start that there's nothing stuck in cement, you know. We will try this. If it doesn't work, if all comes to all, actually, if the old method was better, we'll go back to the old method, you know. So there has to be that honesty and clarity up front. I do think that standard work reduces the stress, like, you know what I mean? Because again, the uncertainty of not knowing how to do a task, now you've actually got a process. Again, we'll show you some T cards, how it can be captured. So straight away, you know what to do, where to go looking for whatever information is required. Standard work encourages flexibility and creativity because it's like as you're giving people standard work or creativity glasses. They're looking at the task now from a different point of view because you've said to them, look, it's your task, like, keep looking at it. If you can see a better way of doing it or a faster way to do it, come back, we'll talk to the team and we'll try it, you know. And the chances are that, you know, the current best way we have today won't be half as good as it will be in 6 months' time. What I've done here is I've actually put in the first of the takeaways, and on the left-hand side there, it's standard work that was introduced into a planning function. There are about 3 or 4 people in the planning function, so you can see how they're trying to organise their work. On the right-hand side, it's actually a team leader, and the team leader, the nature of the job is they have to do so many tasks when they start their shift in the morning. They've got routine tasks they have to perform on an early basis. And then they've got some critical tasks throughout the day, but also before the end of the shift, there's some other standard tasks that they have to do, you know. You'll also see on both of these sheets, by the way, as you'll see, there's a sign off by the supervisor or the manager for the end of the week or the end of the day and that. So again, that's part of making sure that the standard work is being followed. So what I would suggest that you do is you actually keep a diary for 2 weeks to record all the different tasks that you're currently doing and the days you're doing them and the times you're doing them. And I would then go back and I challenge all those tasks to see are they absolutely necessary. I mean, we're all familiar with keeping information or filling out reports or logs, and we're doing them for years. But like, we never go back to the owners and say, look, do we really need this? I know we needed it 3 years ago when we introduced it, but like, things have moved on a lot, like, you know. And I'll be really surprised if you find that you can't, certainly if not eliminate an awful lot of them, you'll be able to reduce the amount of work that's involved in them. And then what you should also do is start looking at the other tasks and say, well, like, where possible can we make them more efficient? Like, you know what I mean? Can we combine them some way? Like, you know, for argument's sake, if there's a sign off for a purchase order, you know, I mean, are you running around every day with a couple of purchase orders trying to get the department manager or the financial controller to sign them off? Maybe you're better off to say, you know what, that's something I'm going to do on a Wednesday and I'm going to do on a Friday. And I'm actually going to, not only am I going to do it on Wednesday and Friday, I'm going to do it at a certain time because the 2 people concerned have agreed to make themselves available for 15 minutes. That's what will make the job easier. The next one then, what I would suggest is you take one of those critical tasks and take one that's fairly predictable and, of course, frequently enough. I would get the individual team members to map out the steps. And again, when I say map out the steps, they might only be literally writing them in their diary. Step one, the first thing I do is this, the second thing, the third thing. But you want to get that down on paper. And you'll get the different people to do that. When they've it all done, we'll bring them into the meeting room and we'll literally put these up on the wall or up on a projector or whatever. And we'll ask everybody to outline why they do it that way, you know. And maybe they do it because somebody trained them when they started 5 years ago, and that's whatever. It doesn't matter. We are where we are. But what we want to do at the end of that session is we want to, between the group, we want to actually get or select the current best process. And that mightn't necessarily be my process or Owen's process. It could be something Owen might be doing part of that process really, really more efficient than any of the rest of it. Vivian might be doing another part. So it's pulling these together and getting the current best process. We'll capture this on a T card. I would suggest trying it for a month, review it and amend it as necessary. And again, I repeat it, you tell people, look, nothing's stuck in stone here, folks. You know what I mean? We want to try it and give it a go, and we can always go back. But you'll find that you never go back because you're only going forward, because even if it's not right, you'll get it right, you'll improve it. And then once that's started, you'll find you've created momentum, and then it's a matter of just selecting another process to work on. Here are some of the T cards that I was talking about. I've seen them in HR where they'd use them for argument's sake. Occasionally they might get somebody to come in and look for, they want to request force majeure. So, you know, the HR generalist would literally take down the T card, and that would outline the major steps in the process, who needs to approve it, whether you can take it all in one go, whether you can have to take it over a period of time, whatever. It'll probably give you where the application form is stored inside in the HR database, all that type of stuff. Simple but powerful stuff. And again, they would have that for new hires, so that where we get their wage details, their health contributions, do they want to join the pension, all that type of stuff. And again, in my last employer, like every area of the factory had standard work, whether it was IT, HR, finance, purchasing, the health and safety manager, you name it. Like anywhere there was work being carried out, they'd introduced T cards. And again, I didn't hammer them over the head with T cards. They just found the concept really, really good. You know, it might sound like a simple concept, but it's highly efficient. It definitely requires initiative to kick it off and discipline to sustain it, but definitely worth the time and effort. Now, the last takeaway I have for you is to do with meetings. Now, I'll be very surprised if everybody on the call says they're not going to enough meetings and they're really, really efficient, because in my experience, the very opposite is the case. People say we're going to too many meetings and they're not efficient at all. So this was something, again, when I was with my last employer, there were a few of us really felt that we need to do something about the meeting. So there's two points to this and two solutions. And the first one was to come up with rules. You know, and some of these rules might be very simple, like turn up on time, turn off the phones, start by the meeting objectives, go through the action items and all that, you know. But they don't always happen. An awful lot of the meetings would be ad hoc, you know. And for us, like another one there was health and safety. We were a manufacturing company, 900 employees, hell of a lot of plant and equipment, could be a dangerous place. So we wanted at every opportunity to let people know that health and safety is the most important item on the agenda. And that's why we want to make sure it was always the first item on the agenda. Now, the next point is an interesting one, was that everybody makes a contribution to the meeting. Now, what we found is sometimes people didn't make a great contribution to the meeting, but it wasn't their fault, because they felt, you know, I didn't need to be at the meeting, you know what I mean? But I was asked to attend, so I had to turn up because I was invited and stuff like that, you know. The other stuff then, predictable enough, owners assigned to the action items, completion dates, did we finish on time, and then we leave the meeting room, in the correct condition. So what we done was we actually changed the meeting minutes form, and this bit down here in the bottom was really the critical bit. And this is where we asked these questions. Were people present at your scheduled time? Now it's amazing how that, you know, when you start putting down L for late, that people start to come up to the meeting on time the next time. I mean, this idea of phones ringing, again, very, 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 very bad manners and stuff like that. Now, it'd be different if somebody says, you know what, I to the chairman, I'm expecting an urgent phone call, I'll have to leave the meeting. That's perfectly understandable. This was everybody bringing their phones and stuff like that, so we were able to sort out that, you know. What was one of the most important things on this was, at the end of the meeting, the chairperson would actually ask everybody, look, did you feel, lads or girls, that you needed to be at this meeting? Because, you know, I invited you, you were invited in, you know, because we thought we'd need your input. But if you feel, you know what, you're the manager, and your senior supervisor is also at the meeting, you don't have to be there. Fine, tell us. We'll take you off the meeting invite list. But what we'll do is we'll still make sure that you're circulated on the minutes. And I would have to say that probably took about a third of the people off the meetings. You know what I mean? And it kind of has almost empowered people to say, no, I'm not going to go to this meeting. Look, that's it, folks. Thanks very much again for having the initiative and tuning in, and thanks for the ICBE for enabling this event and that. I just want to let you know that there's the Lean in the Office workshop that's taking place on the 11th of September in Portlaoise. It's actually, at this stage, it's full up, but we are planning on running some more. So if you contact Vivian at the ICBE.ie, she'll be able to give you more details. Okay, so look, thank you.